Hey everyone, it's Kurt here from MinHub Youth. I wanted to give you an update today about everything that's been going on. You guys haven't heard from us in quite a while. And so at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some context if that's interesting to you about kind of where we've been and what kind of made me go silent for a little while. But also just want to give you an update right now on what's going on with MinHub Sync and Android because some interesting things have happened. And just kind of give you guys an update of what's going on with MinHub Youth. We want so badly to give you guys the perfect app that works like magic, and sometimes we just have these bugs and things that couldn't get worked out. But so the first two things we're going to talk about is MinHub Sync and Android. Okay, so for MinHub Sync, what we did is we actually work with a company called Realm, realm.io. You can look them up online. They're amazing. We got in really early on, so we were actually using Realm and developing with Realm right before they actually launched their sync platform, and we were in a beta there and got the first version of MinHub Sync actually used Realm, and we were moving through with them. And Realm is amazing. They're used by Starbucks, and I mean, if you go look at their site, there's hundreds of apps, if not thousands of apps that use their stuff. For sure, there's apps on your phone that use Realm. So we're like, okay, this is going to be perfect. Well, one of the things that happened was they implemented a breaking change from their version 1 to version 2. And we tried really hard to figure out how to move our database without breaking the database. And that was something we were working on for a while. And because of some extenuating circumstances in my life and the lives of the developers, we were not able to get on track with that. And so what it did was it put us behind in a way that we couldn't keep up with the updates with the sync platform that we are subscribed to, the one that we're using for MinHub Sync. So what we did was over the last summer, my developer Jason and I, we actually worked together to figure out a way that we can just jump through the breaking change. And what it's going to require is that if you're using MinHub Sync today, is that you as the youth pastor, or if you're not the youth pastor and you're a leader and you want to pass this on to your youth leader, they need to know this. So when you first log into MinHub Sync, you're going to create a new password that you can distribute to all of your leaders, but the email address that you use for your MinHub Sync account is what is going to be used as your ministry username. And what that's going to do is allow us a path forward where we can actually send reset password requests, because the account will be linked to an email. And it was one of the problems that we had in the past, was that if you guys forgot your password or for some reason the password wasn't working, the server was down, you would end up going in and resetting your entire ministry username, and it just wasn't good experience at all. So this is going to allow us to actually create a good experience. So if you are subscribed to MinHub Sync, when you log in, the first person, so whatever device you have, I would say you log in, set up your new ministry password that will be linked to your email address, and then that will take all the info that's on your device and put it into the cloud, into MinHub Sync. And then when anybody else from your church logs in with that information, the first thing it's going to do is copy everything out of the cloud down onto their device. So if they had something on their device, it's going to get replaced with whatever was on your device, and then from there everything syncs. This is like we're almost version 4, where we were at version 1 before, so there's a ton of enhancements and improvements. It's way better, so you're going to have a way better experience once you just log into that. I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of situations that come up, and if you want help, please reach out to us. MinHub app on Twitter, that's me. I'll just respond to you directly. We've been really inactive on there, but we're changing that. And again, you can listen at the end of the video if you want to hear kind of the context of why that stuff happened. So next we're going to talk about Android. For Android, we encountered a problem in January that wasn't just us. Google kicked us off the Play Store, and there was a whole bunch of apps that got kicked off the Play Store. And the reason we got kicked off is because we automate text messages. So we make it so that you can text a bunch of kids at once, or queue up a bunch of texts so that you can contact the kids that missed your youth group or whatever. Well, we kind of got lumped in with a bunch of other software, and there were these apps called text bombs and kids would use these and it's kind of funny on one, you get it as a youth pastor. So, but like what they would put in somebody's phone number and put in a message, and it would literally send that like one person 1,000 messages in a row. And you could do this more than once. So you basically lock up their phone because they're just receiving text messages over and over and over again. Because of this abuse of the system, they kind of lumped anything that automates text messages together and banned them from the App Store. They have a special request form that we've been trying to get through the Play Store. It's really hard. You can't talk to a person. It's been since January we've been trying to get through to get our app back on the App Store, and we literally just can't do it. We're just going to continue to try to figure it out, how to get it back onto Android. But for right now, what we're doing is we're going to release another app called MinHub Youth. It's a little bit different, just we took out the space, so it'll be the only app that's on the App Store right now. And it will allow you to do everything that the app can do, except it can't do texting and calling because we had to take those features out in order for it to get onto the App Store. We're going to continue to appeal our app, MinHub Youth, to get it back on the App Store in full capacity. But for right now, this temporary fix, we're just giving the app for free on Android. If you want to jump in there and use it, you just won't be able to text to your kids, which is really a pain. But if you are syncing on an iOS device, so on an iPhone, and you just need to have some devices that you can take attendance on, that at least allows you to connect to the same database through MinHub Sync, so that then you might have some leaders that do attendance, but then you can actually get that and contact kids off of your iPhone. So that's kind of the compromise that we've found right now. It's not ideal, but it's better, we think, than it being completely blocked from the App Store. And on minhubapp.com/fixing-things, there's a blog post. This is posted on there. And I posted some more links to articles that you can read about this. It's kind of a messed up situation, but again, Google's doing the best they can to try to not make people upset, and then we just kind of got lumped in with that because we're a viable tool that hopefully people weren't abusing, but we use some of the same libraries and permissions, and because of that, we got our permissions taken away. So right now, you can go onto the Android store and go and download a different version of the app. If you have a bunch of info on a device, an Android device, and you want to get that over into this new version of the app, you can try to export and import. Depending on the device, it may or may not work. We've had some bugs there as well. Android is extremely fragmented. It's hard to figure out what each device is doing. And for sure, your pictures will not export and import, but it might get your data over. And since the app is free, you can always try it just to see if it would work for you. And you'll have two versions of the app, MinHub Youth with a space and MinHub Youth where they're all shoved together. So MinHub Youth where they're all shoved together, that's the free version. MinHub Youth with the space, that's the real version that we will hopefully return to as soon as we get the permission stuff figured out. Okay, so some of you guys have been reaching out. I've been super quiet, haven't been able to respond, and it's been really interesting. And so I just kind of wanted to share kind of what's gone on in my life, just so that you guys know kind of some context of what's gone on. I know that I have connected with some of you. You've prayed for me. We're so grateful. But I honestly didn't even realize what was going on in my life and the way that it was impacting my life. And so what happened was, I got to a place where I just shut down emotionally, physically. Like I was no longer able to kind of do my own job or take care of my family or really take care of myself. I ended up getting a lot of therapy, kind of like getting a sabbatical and moving into a season where I just had to take care of myself. This was last summer. And I thought that was kind of a good place, but as I kind of worked through therapy and thought that would just fix things, it did make things a lot better. But what I realized was that I had been deteriorating for a long time. And as things started to fall apart at my church, as things kind of do sometimes, especially in a vacuum of leadership, like we went through I think they just got a new senior pastor, and it was 20 months without a senior pastor, and there were problems before that. So it's one of those things that it's not abnormal in a church, but I was in it for so long that I didn't really realize. I've been going through all this MinHub stuff, trying to just get everything back on track, and realizing there's all these things that I had started and things that I had promised and conversations that I was in that just like went away because I couldn't handle my life. So I'll own that. I'm sorry if I dropped the ball. I just went through and processed a bunch of refunds for people that were requested, over a year ago. And I feel horrible. Like, I'm embarrassed that I'm bad at business. And I know, like, as I've talked to a lot of you, you've forgiven me, and we're just at a place now, hopefully, where we can get everything back on track and we can continue to develop and fix problems in a way that I just wasn't able to before. So what I've done is, last November, I knew like God was calling me out of vocational ministry for a season where that was my number one job, and into this role as a tent maker. And so I'm continuing to preach on weekends or camps or conferences, and I'm an ordained minister, and I'm writing a book, and I'm working on all this stuff, but I'm also working a regular job. So I'm in this tent maker season where I'm be able to focus on things like MinHub and another marketing job for an app company, and really develop who I'm becoming in the world, and as a husband and a father, and while I'm developing ministry stuff as well. So thank you so much for your prayers. Thank you so much for caring about me and what's gone on with MinHub. And hopefully, as we continue to work out whatever's going to happen over these next couple of years, it will just help you guys in your ministries so much. So again, you guys can reach out to me, MinHub app on Twitter. That's where anything about the app, you can DM me, you can at mention me, and I'm going to try to reply as fast as I can. Lori is our email person. She's tried to help and manage through my dysfunction as much as she can, but hopefully it'll get a lot better now that I'm a lot more present. And we'll just have a lot more releases that come out faster because I'm around to try to help figure that stuff out. Not that I wasn't around, but I wasn't around. I think that you guys probably understand what I mean there. Anyway, thank you so much for letting us serve you. And if MinHub is something that you're continuing to invest in, we're just so grateful. There are some people that are kind of upset that it costs money. I have not made it out of the hole yet. So hopefully it continues to serve you guys in a way where one day we can be profitable and actually be able to invest in more developers. But right now, we're just so grateful for the chance to serve you, and hopefully that there's some kid somewhere that gets followed up with and doesn't slip through the cracks and gets to develop a lifelong love of God and relationship with Jesus because an app helped you and your leaders connect. And that's really our hope and our dream. And we just appreciate you so much. So thank you guys. God bless. And hopefully we'll talk to you soon. See ya.